Well, hello from the Hill. It's the Hill Homestead. Uh, I felt the need to drop back into my leadership forum. I have a lot of new leaders out there that know me and come talk to me about their issues with their staff. And believe it or not, some of the old timers even hit me up now and again and with these what they think are new problems. And you know what the truth of the matter are? They are new problems. And what is driving these new problems is our new workforce. If you have to think back, we have a workforce that went through the pandemic, and many of them weren't allowed to work. Many of them had to work under extenuating circumstances. And it's kind of created a new culture, if you will, of employees. Some of the remarks I'm getting and some of the questions I get asked is, how do you hold a conversation with an employee about their complaints? You can't handle it like we did back in the day. Back in the day, we'd like, well, I'll get you your final check. How would that work for you? Of course, you can't do that anymore. You have to use a more diplomatic and more of a white glove touch. But, it really boils down to two things. Something is either making that employee unhappy. Perhaps it's their supervisor. Perhaps it's the temperature of the AC set on. Yeah, go figure. Perhaps it's the people that they have to work with. And I'm going to tell you, I'm learning that nowadays the list goes a lot further than it ever did before, and there's just a lot more of it. Because again, back in the day, we always told them to, toughen up. You can't do that now, or you'll find yourself making widgets because you won't have any staff to make widgets for you. And where this really comes into play, I think, is some of the staff that my friends have that work in a caregiver situation. Now, perhaps that is working with individuals with developmental disables. Perhaps it's working with individuals with certain issues that deal with the mindset. And it's a little tougher world, really, to navigate your way through as an employee. Now, if we recognize that, you better darn sure recognize it's not as easy for the supervisor, the manager, and the leader as it once was either. You have to somehow maintain the same control, but with a hands-off approach. Man, I bet that's hard on a daily basis. But if an employee comes in with a problem, let's say it's my second in command, for instance, comes to me and says, God, since you took over, our staff have so many complaints I can't even field them all. My first answer is, really? Well, that surprises me. And it surprises me because they have a nice, clean, air-conditioned and heated area to come to work in. Not a lot of heavy lifting. A very liberal come and go policy. So what kind of complaints are you talking about? Well, they're complaining that every time they turn around, they're having to work different hours. Or, I got this one lady that if she doesn't get to work with the same individual every single day, she's just got a real problem with it. And myself, in my own mind, I'm thinking, really? That's a complaint? However, actually what this is a teaching moment. So my teaching moment would go something like this to my second in command. Keep in mind that most of these people that are calling me are brand new leaders. And they're in brand new positions, in a position somebody else held before them. It would go something like this. Really, that's a really trivial thing in the scheme of things. However, I'm sure to that employee it seems pretty big. But this is an opportunity, I think, for you and I to grow this office. It's an opportunity for you and I to grow our employees. So let's take, for instance, the one that always works with uh, three-eyed Susie and never wants to work with anybody else. And then Susie calls in. She doesn't feel like coming in today. So here you got this block of hours that Gladys will say. Gladys is supposed to work this block of hours, but guess what? Her reason to work that block of hours is gone. So to my second in command, I would say, look here, Junior. The way we have to do this, we have to approach this as a united front. And the way we're going to approach it is, wow, I'm sorry that you don't work with Jim, Bob, or Alice. And, I get that you got a relationship with Susie, but Susie called in. So your choices are, and I'll leave it up to you, it's fine with me. I can send you home. Or Alice, the staff that works with Alice called in today. So I can offer you the 6 hours that Alice usually stays and not interrupt your paycheck, or I can send you home. And it's your choice. What would you like to do? Well, you can talk about a person's mama, talk about their grandmama, but don't mess with that paycheck. So you're giving the employee an opportunity to put up or shut up in a kind way, because you know my philosophy. Cut their heads off if you have to, but be kind. Be nice. So then you got the employee that is upset about this, and maybe they're upset about that. Well, I'm going to quit looking at some point. I'm going to quit looking at that individual staff, and I'm going to start looking at my second in command. And I'm going to find out, why are we not on the same page here? It's supposed to be you and I against the world. Why are you fighting me on this? That's a whole different conversation. Sometimes that's that conversation I talked to you about earlier, about a one-way conversation. It goes something like this. Have a seat. We need to chat. Listen, I've been very patient with you. I understand that I'm a brand new leader here. You're used to somebody else. I got different color hair, walk different, wear different color clothes. But make no mistake about it, I'm the leader here. And somehow you and I have to find a common ground. We have to find a common ground where you have my back and I have your back, and it's always the same action. And that's going to happen. Now, if it turns out that it's you that's unhappy, I'm so sorry. Maybe I can find you a different center to work at. Maybe I can find you a different office. We have several offices. Got one in Tulsa. How'd you like to work in Tulsa? I think we're getting one now in Shawnee. How'd you like to work in Shawnee? The answer you're going to get is no. No. I don't want to travel any more than I already do. Well, then what is it? How can we not reach this common ground? At some point, that second in command is going to get the idea that I either have to work with this joker, and if they do, guess what? They're going to find their job so much easier, and they're going to end up loving you as much as an employee loves us. But the worst case scenario, they're going to end up accepting you. The easiest way to combat all of these problems is, first of all, attack it with a two-edged sword. That would be you and whoever your underling is. Whoever your second in command is, that's a two-edged sword, and it's unbeatable. So task number one, get that second in command on your side, where you're speaking out of the same tone, the same message, day in and day out. What that'll do is, when that employee comes to you with some trivial, in the big scheme of things, comes some trivial problem, it's going to fall on deaf ears. And what they're going to hear is the same thing you would say if you were there. And if that is the case, suck it up. That's what they're going to learn how to do. They're going to learn how to suck it up. So, I understand the Genova approach. I understand the white glove approach and all of that foolishness. That's just ridiculous to me. However, a new reality.